Well, quite a bit has changed on Broadway within the past 50 or so years. Howard Johnson's is gone, the arcades are gone, and quite a few buildings and even a few theaters are gone. But we still have one thing, and that is my guest, Mr. John Cullum.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe he's outlived his usefulness, but I hope not.
Well, you're in Osage County now, and I think anyone who sees you in that would disagree, but we'll get to that a little later. Now, when you started off as an actor on Broadway, the shows were ridiculously expensive to produce. They were concentrating on commercial rather than artistic vehicles, and ticket prices were too high. Has anything changed?
No, now that you point that out, Charles, it's exactly the same, and it continually that same problem keeps recurring. That's true. That's the cycle. It keeps going that way.
And was the theater dying back then too?
Oh yes, the theater was about to die in the 50s in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. But we managed to survive somehow.
As the song goes, we're still here.
Yes, that's right.
Currently, you're the matriarch of one of the most dysfunctional families that Broadway has ever seen. Now, I love the setup you have. You are in the first scene. You pretty much get to talk almost nonstop for a half hour, and then you get to go home. You don't even come back for the curtain call. That's very unusual.
Yes, it is unusual, and probably I've gotten. I'm sure some people are kind of nonplussed by that. A lot of people wondered if I really died.
He's alive and well.
Incidentally, Charlotte, I'm not the matriarch. That's Estelle. I'm the patriarch. but she, believe me, she holds up the whole show. Once I'm gone, I hope I'm not revealing anything that people shouldn't know. But Estelle and the company it is one of the most extraordinary shows that I've ever seen, and I'm delighted to be a part of it, even if it's just a kind of a prologue.
It's a very long show.
Yes, but I've never seen people complain about, at least while they're there, and when they're watching it, they stay totally riveted to the show until the very end. It's when I watched the show, I kept thinking, well, I know what Letts is talking about, the playwright, but I don't think everybody else does. I was sure that nobody understood these people as well as I did, and I've come to realize that everybody's family is like this, and it's so well written, and there's so much vitality and energy in this. This is not a dysfunctional family. It's a overwrought, fraught family that just it's exciting to watch it happen, and it all seems to be. I never thought of this before, but it's within the unities of the Greek theater. It all happens in like 24 hours, so or it seems to be. Maybe I may be wrong there, but it's an exciting 3 hours.
It certainly is. Now, essentially what happens is your character disappears. Later we find out that he has died, presumably of a suicide, and that brings the whole family together. And I guess quite a bit of dirty laundry is aired, and a few family secrets come out. Now, they speculate about your character a lot. Do you have any thoughts about why he decided just to leave that way?
Well, there's no question that the relationship between him and his wife was very difficult, and he, as he explained in the prologue, he drinks and she takes pills, and that's the bargain that they've made, and they continually go on that in that direction, and it gets worse and worse, and he finally has to that first scene is him hiring this Indian girl to take care of the place and watch after it, because he feels it's really falling apart. It's not falling apart yet, but it will, and he knows it's going to. And she has deliberately taken this course of the pill because she'd already gone through the 12 steps, and she came out of it smelling sweet as a rose, but then she chose to go back deliberately to dope and drugs.
Right, although later on, I think one of her daughters reveals that she was trying to smuggle pills into the rehab. So, was she as clean as your character may have thought?
Oh, this is. I'm talking about a prior to this particular moment. She actually busted the habit, and she was clean. Her daughter cleaned her up, and she was fine. And then she deliberately went back, and that's, we see all that. That's a secret thing. All of this comes out in the play in a very exciting, interesting way.
Certainly. I mean, you see the family. There's tragedy upon tragedy, and I see a lot of similar plays. I just want to say, oh, forget it. But this play really does leave you very riveted, and you do want to see what's happening, and you're hoping that they will get it together. But it's hard. It's hard, I guess, for any family.
Well, they have the one thing that this family has that keeps you interested in is they have tremendous fiber. They have a great deal of strength, and they're like a lot of families in small towns in the South and in the Midwest and in the North, wherever. Families are this. Families are like this, and when you get to be my age, you look back over all the things that happened in your own family, and you realize that nobody else is any different than you are, and you're not any different than anybody else. Everything can happen. I mean, I know in my own family, my brother was a Baptist minister. My sister was married to a Baptist minister. My niece's daughter married a young man who was kind of, she was extremely fat, and he was extremely thin, and they were both intellectuals. And I came back for Christmas, and I was talking to this young woman at the dinner table, a huge big feast that we were all having, and I kept thinking, who in the hell is this? And then I suddenly realized it was her husband, and he'd had a sex change. Well, I thought, this is extraordinary. But then I began to think some of the other things that happened in my family, and every family has all of these things going on in them, and this family is no different. But the thing that keeps them exciting is the fact that there's a tremendous energy and vitality in the family.
Have you ever thought about writing a play about your family?
I wouldn't dare. I can't possibly outlive all the people that I'd want to write about, and that's the only way I would do it, would be if everybody was dead. Then I might write about them. I don't know how playwrights manage to do that, but they have to. Look, O'Neill and any of those people who they become ostracized from their family usually. Well, only in this play, I don't know, you know the story about the character that go ahead and tell.
Well, your predecessor was actually the father of the playwright, and I guess that's how he managed it in this case.